Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Catherine, how are you?
Doing
Hi, Corey.
well.
Hey, Eric and Catherine. Hello, hello.
Hey, hi, Corey.
Hey now. Can you all hear and see me?
Yes.
All right.
Did you ever get a hold of Neil with Divorce Transition Professionals?
I did. I reached out. I sent him an email, and then he said he was out of town, and we haven't reconnected yet. But just when I saw your face, I was like, oh, I need to connect with Neil. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was gonna look to see what the agenda.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm facilitating the call, so I actually didn't draw up an agenda for today. I was basically going to speak it when we all got on the call, but there
Okay.
might be something there already. I don't know.
And I sent an email that if I can start taking notes until Ariel gets there, just assuming that my internet still cooperates. Sometimes it cuts out,
Sure.
and I may need to get off video too.
Are you in Costa Rica?
Or like hang out. Yeah, I'm in Costa Rica.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Good.
I'm house sitting and dog sitting for a friend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll start in
I
just
see
a
Eric
moment
here.
or so. Yep, I see Ariel as well. Ariel, we can see that you're on the Zoom, and hopefully you're able to hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I have video.
Great.
Right now I'm just taking notes in a Word doc. So
Okay.
it won't be shareable immediately, but
If you want me to take notes, oh, we have a doc to take the notes on, huh? Do we?
no.
Go ahead.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
Hi, Gail.
Hi,
Welcome to the
So
call.
what have
thank you.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, who's saying that? I don't know.
Catherine.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
hello. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. And then Ariel, I can take notes for you if you want until you get to a place that's easier.
Okay. Yeah. So I think just in a Word doc.
Well, I'm going to do that on a Google. Yeah, I was going to do that on a Google Doc. Someone's got a lot of noise in the background. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoever is calling in, thank you for either muting yourself or someone on our call muting you. You can let us know who you are when you have perhaps less ambient sound in the background so we can hear you clearly. Thank you for joining.
I'll just say this is Carol, but I'm going to mute because it's going to be a few minutes till I can get to somewhere more quiet.
Understood. Thank you. Welcome to the call. All right, everyone. Well, it is, according to my watch, 33 after the hour. And I imagine other people will be chiming in, but I wanted to get the call started. And so welcome. I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure that everyone can either hear or see me and everyone else, and just to check if anyone is having any technical difficulties that we need to address at the outset here. But it looks like we're all together here and we can hear and see one another. Is that accurate?
Eric is good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good.
Roger's good. Eric's good. I see Gail nodding. I know Catherine I was able to see her, and Ariel as well. And then I think it was Tara or Kara that was on the phone who can actually hear us, even though she's looking for another place so that she can be heard as effectively as possible. So everyone, welcome to the NVC SoCal Certification Pod. And it looks like we have someone else chiming in. Welcome. This is Corey Tyler. I'm here in Los Angeles. And welcome to our NVC SoCal Certification Pod. Back in July, when we were at the memorable retreat in Long Beach, one of the things that we walked away with was the formation of this pod with an intention to collectively support everyone moving towards the NVC certification process. So we're calling this First Thursdays. I'm calling this First Thursdays. And the intention today is for us to hold the space for becoming a registered candidate. So that's basically the focus for the call today. If wherever you may land in the process, and for some of you, you may already be a registered candidate. For some of you, you may not even have a clue. You're like, okay, what's step one? I want to let you know, at least for me, my intention is to hold the space in creating information that is effective and useful for you as we move towards what we call becoming a registered candidate, of which I became recently, which I'm very, very happy about, and I can share a little bit about that. So that being said, I'm going to mute myself a little bit because I'm getting some sound. But I'd like to go around and for everyone to do about a minute or so of a check-in in what's alive in you so we can all connect with one another in that way. So I'll go first. Once again, it's Corey, and I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling curious. I'm seeing some familiar faces and also some phone icons. So I'm curious about who is on the phone, and I'm really, really celebrating that I have said yes to this process. And I know Catherine is in Costa Rica, so she just got disconnected, but I think she'll be back. And that's my check-in. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it to, I see everybody here on the screen. Gail, would you be willing to check in with what's alive with you?
Sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and see you.
What's alive in me? Well, I am excited. I'm curious. I'm excited because this is our first meeting, and I have also finalized my registration, which I began in 2011. And so I've reinstated it officially and been in touch with Catherine. So I'm excited about that. I'm curious about what we're going to do tonight that's going to further our process. I'm really, really glad that we had our meeting together because I am joyful about the connections that I experienced on a screen. And I'm so glad that I've met in person. And even though some of you I haven't really connected with, at least some of you I have, and I saw you. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm very busy, and I'm glad that I was able to fit in this chunk of time.
All right, thank you. I think, yeah, we were having some sound issues there for a minute and made it a little challenging, but I think I was able to hear most of what you said, Gail, so thank you. Could you just repeat that last thing? You said something about being either relieved or happy about something, the last sentence you said.
Okay, I am really busy, and I'm happy that I was able to organize this chunk of time in my life so that I can do this on First Thursdays, because I know it's important for me.
Thank you, Gail. And Catherine in Costa Rica.
Hi. Let's see. Feeling slightly preoccupied because I already dropped off once with the internet here. So slightly preoccupied, but mostly just feeling glad that we're having this meeting, and the registration is on my to-do list for this this month, but I haven't done it yet. Haven't started, so it feels it's good to hear and encouraging to hear both you, Corey, and Gail, that you are on it. And yeah, just feels good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And Roger.
Hi there. I'm happy to be on the call. Corey, thank you for facilitating. Is there somebody who's taking notes? I'm curious. And
I am right now. Ariel takes over.
great. And it's in the same Google document that we used before?
No,
That's a question.
it isn't a Google Doc, but it's just one that I made for this. I don't think it's going. Someone else
really
might
breaking
have
up.
to
That
take
are
notes. Linking out.
Yeah. Who's speaking? Is that you, Catherine?
That was me. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the sound is garbled, so it sounds like you're intoxicated. But yeah. So yeah, so that would be great if notes get taken. And let's see. For me, I'm excited because there's several people who have completed their registration, and they're now registered certification candidates. And let's see, people who are registered with other assessors and still participating in this pod. That's great. And Lori, who's not on this, I believe she's on a canoe trip with family, and she is just really close to being complete. I learned something about completing step 1 and step 2 in the CPP process, and it's called the CNBC Certification Process Outline, and it's easily available on the CNBC website. And so my understanding is that everybody would want to get that done by November 1. You would need to get those 2 pieces done in order to complete registration. And so I've learned something about that, and I'm happy to share that later. Also, another big piece that's alive for me is I don't want it to be the focus of this call, but I do want to name it. And that's, I sent out an email to, I think, everybody, and that's that the NVC conference in Santa Barbara, the college has canceled that, and they don't want to do it. They've run into a major budget crisis has emerged, and they're cutting back personnel, etc. So they don't want to do it. So I'm in the process of looking for a new venue and a new organizer and some money. And so, but again, I just wanted to let you know that that's happening, but that not to be an agenda item for this call. Other than that, I'm going to go camping this weekend, and I'm already packing up. That's me. I'm in.
Thank you, Roger. Where are you going camping? Lake
Kachuma. It's just the other side of the mountains from me. And my only concern is this is predicted to be really hot, but I know where there's some wonderful swimming holes that are not part of Lake Kachuma, but they're close by, and where you can go swimming.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Roger, and thank you for the update, brother Eric.
Eric, can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great. Glad to be here. I am a little frantic. I'm transitioning from work to home, and now I have to leave for school. So just glad to be here. I'm sad I'm going to miss all of you, but I'm so happy I get to see all of you. And I'm annoyed that I didn't have the Zoom set up correctly, so I can't make anybody a co-host. So you won't have any control over anything, Corey, or anybody here. So I muted Ariel. Mariel, can you just check to see that you can unmute yourself? I can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to unmute you. Hold on.
And can someone else?
Yeah, go ahead. Ariel, you're now unmuted. I unmuted you.
Well,
Okay. Are you just going to leave me unmuted?
Yeah, are you able to mute yourself? And then that won't be, then I can feel
When
comfortable.
I'm not driving, yes. I'm about 5 minutes from not driving.
Okay. So I'll mute you, and then I'll unmute you when when you arrive. That's it. That's it. I don't need any reflection. I'll watch the recording afterwards. I'm going to try to listen in, even though I'm going to be back to school, which is kind of a weird, not being present sort of a thing. So thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you, Eric, for setting up the Zoom, for all the things you do behind the scenes that we may not even be aware of. And give me a call. I have a feeling you'd like some empathy for the day that you've had and you're about to have. So just putting it out there, brother. So thank you.
Thank you.
Kamala.
Hello. Yeah, I'm grateful to be on the call, and I'm curious about this track, and I'm yet to meet Roger, which I think I'm scheduled for next week because I wanted to contemplate a little more. And I'm open to learning tonight. I do have some concerns about the certification track for myself, but I'll talk to Roger about that. But other than that, I'm excited and happy. Thank you. I'm complete.
All right. And I'm being intentional, Ariel, with waiting to ask you to check in until you're in a place where you're not, where trees are not moving around you. So, okay. And Catherine, did you check in? I can't even track back. Oh, I think we may have lost Catherine. I'll give it a few more seconds to see if you chime in here, because I understand you are somewhere where the internet may not be as strong. All right, so for the person that is calling in on 847 area code 207-2705, if you'd like to chime in and check in.
Hi guys, this is Tara. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm moving to somewhat quieter. Hold on one second. Okay. I was at a restaurant, but things are just ending, and now I think I'm in a quieter space. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, that's a lot better. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So I'd say that I'm having a lot of paradoxical emotions tonight. I'm excited to be a part of this pod and to be connected with people that I did the IIT with in February and to be formally making these moves towards certification. I'm also excited because I'm having a 16-year reunion with my residency class from the University of Chicago starting this weekend. So that starts tomorrow. And I am definitely having some exhaustion. I'm actually in Chicago, so it's already almost 9 o'clock here. And I've just been having difficult communications and lots of opportunities to use nonviolent communication with my ex-husband this week. We've had a bunch of things we're trying to come up with some strategies for, and we're having another talk tomorrow. So I haven't been sleeping particularly well, and that's taking up a lot of my mental real estate. So I'll just send out a spiritual wish for empathy from the group, because it's been kind of a rough week, and I'm hoping to at least, just move on and enjoy my weekend and enjoy the call with you all tonight until I just can't stay awake anymore, and I may sign off a little early since I'm 2 hours later here.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for checking in and letting us know what's alive in you, and welcome to you and to everyone in the group here. So I believe we got everyone. So for those of you who, and I believe we're gonna have a moment for Ariel to check in, but I'm gonna wait on that just for a little bit. And then you can chime in whenever you feel free. I see you not only driving, but eating. So that's quite a feat. Okay, so Catherine, I think you're still there, and if you are, thank you for
Yes.
taking notes. Did you check in yet, Catherine?
Yes,
Okay.
I
thank
did.
you. All right. So just to give you a general idea of the intention for this first Thursday, and then overall, it's sort of like an idea of, and I spoke to this at the retreat. NVC has been a very personal experience for me, learning it, teaching it. And before that retreat, I felt like I was on a solo journey. And after that day of connecting with everyone, I felt like I was a part of a concerted collective effort and intention in doing something that I had been thinking about on and off for the last number of years, which is becoming certified. And so I felt in that moment supported, and this call is a manifestation of us meeting and saying, you know what, we want to have a supportive energy where we all can be on the same page, moving towards something that we all have a deep care about, which is certification. And for one reason or another, you might be teetering on the fence of peeking over and saying, what does that look like? You may have already had your registration, as we talked about. You may be even further than that. But we wanted to hold space and have a collective, sort of a workshop, a place where we can all hold hands and support one another towards walking towards certification. So the intention is that by November 1st, those in this pod, which we are calling, let me get it up, bring it in my notes, the NVC SoCal certification pod, that by November 1st, this is what we intended at the retreat, that we will all be registered certification candidates by that time. I, as of last week, am now a registered certification candidate. I'm happy about that. And so wanted to use this space to say, well, what does that entail? What does that look like so that we can all be on the same page? And my understanding is that if you are working with Roger as your assessor, that's going to involve 3 pieces. And you may want to take notes on this if you can. But just to give you a general overview of what we're going to do, I'm just going to bracket that for a minute, is I'm going to give you some information about our time together and what it looks like to become a certified candidate. That'll be the first thing. The next piece is we're going to open this up to sort of a Q&A mode for any specific questions that you may have. And you say, yeah, well, here's my circumstance. This is where I am. How does that fit into all of this? And then after that, barring any announcements, we'll do a checkout. So that's my intention for our time. If you have any other requests about what this time looks like, feel free to chime in. But as the facilitator of today, that's where I'm seeing that this can be the most effective. So continuing on, so that if you are working with Roger as your assessor, which I imagine many of you are being a part of this pod, that involves 3 things from between now to November 1st that you would want to complete. One is a Word document. That's basically an application that you're filling out. It's a portion of the CPP. And you fill out all that information. And then there's another piece to it, which is payment. So getting clear on what you're actually going to be sending your assessor in regards to this registration. And then there's a third document or a third piece to this, which is articulating your reasons for your interest in certification. What led you to NVC? How did you find it? Is there a spiritual component to, or a social aspect? to NVC. So that would be the third piece. So that first Word doc that I spoke to you about, the payment, and then that other document where you're expressing what led you to NVC and what's moving you to become a certified trainer in NVC. Those are the three pieces that most of you and many of you will have to, that we're requesting that be completed by that timeline of November 1st, so that we can all collectively cross the finish line at that point and say, okay, check that off the box, what's next? And instead of us climbing this mountain individually, we would be doing it collectively. So that's sort of the thought behind that. That being said, I wanted to open the space for Ariel checking in if she's at a place where she can do that.
Yeah, I can.
Cool.
I'm actually hovering about a half a block away from my house, hoping that my wife and child go inside and then I can pull in out of view so that I can access Wi-Fi and switch and turn my car off because my phone's gonna die. But I have my computer, so if I have Wi-Fi, I can stay on the call. So that's like the immediate situation check-in. The bigger check-in is I just wanted to kind of name. I have a work thing tomorrow that I've been worried about, and earlier today I had an empathy date with somebody that I met at the last facilitators retreat, and tonight after the call, Corey, I hope I'm not like outing you in a way that's
Please do.
Okay if I share?
Out away.
Corey is gonna consult with me to talk about like this couple that I'm meeting with tomorrow. And right now I'm here on the call and we're like talking about the certification path. So I'm really connected to some very clear ways that connecting with this community of facilitators in Southern California is directly impacting my access to support. And I'm celebrating it. Like I'm over the moon about that. Actually, the truth is, it's like the part of me that has been mourning and just sitting with unmet needs in a kind of a that's just how life is kind of way, is now like, oh, yeah, there could be support for me. That's more close to how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, or the feeling I'm having. Anyways, the last piece I just want to name is that Roger, I'm holding some mourning and some hope with you about the conference next year. I know it's just been like an incredible roller coaster, like almost every year. There's like, not gonna be a conference. Yes, it's gonna be a conference. And the last time we talked, you were celebrating some funding having come through for the conference this year. And so I'm just, I'm with you and caring and wanting to support. And I'm complete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. So for me,
Oh, wait, also about note taking, as soon as I get in my driveway and like am able to like, I'll disconnect, click out and come back on the call with my computer, and then I can take notes. That helps.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm curious if,
Ariel.
thank you. Catherine, does that work for you? Hello, Catherine, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sure, I'm just wondering if you're taking notes right now, if that's something you can do. Then when Ariel jumps in, she will take it from there.
Yeah, I heard that and I said, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I too am feeling what Ariel just said about this collective support. And I think for me, what I really appreciate about times like this is the underlying question of how can we be supported individually and collectively? And so with that being said, and those three things that I said, how can we move the ball forward for you, all of you on the call, so that November 1st, we're all on the Zoom call. I think it's after that, but this idea of like, yes, we've arrived. Everyone feels supported towards doing something that we're all very passionate about. And I wanted to open up the dialogue, somewhat of a Q&A, if Roger, you're open to that, about any questions based on what I said the criteria was, the intention was. If any of you have any questions about what that looks like for you moving forward and completing those three things. And like I said, that may be unique to those of you who have identified Roger as your assessor, but I just wanted to put that out there and open it up for any questions in terms of how we can support you. So the floor is open.
So I just like to start with, I know some people are registered with other assessors, and if you're registering with me, it's you're actually registering with Catherine Singer, who is the official assessor, and I'm the assessor in training. And so I'm kind of learning what my role is, and I'm also learning specifically what Catherine Singer wants, because it's a little bit different than what is outlined in the CNVC certification process outline. The first two steps are what we want to have done by November 1, and she would like that in a little bit different format than what is indicated there. But like Corey said, there's three pieces. There's one piece, it's a separate standalone, which, let's see, involves a letter of intention, okay? The letter of intention, she would like it to cover the history of how you got involved with NVC, how it has influenced your life, and then what's your personal vision? You know, where do you with NVC. So that's all in a letter of intention. And then a separate document would involve the other pieces that are indicated in this CPP, and it's all spelled out very clear: contact information, your training log of 10 days, statement of purpose, and in the statement of purpose, there's specific topics that you're invited to address, like social change and spirituality, and then let's see, it also involves recommendations of at least one certified trainer, and an agreement to reading the CPP, and as well as agreeing that you would agree to the trainer agreement upon completion of this process. Okay, so all of that's outlined on the CNVC website.
Sorry.
And then there's a registration, and then there's a what, Ariel, is that you? Can you mute yourself? Oh, she left. Okay.
Somebody else.
I think it might be Ariel. Ariel, if you can hear us, can you mute yourself, please? I'm not Ariel. I think it's Tara.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So those are the three pieces: the registration fee, your application with a bunch of info in it. Again, that's all spelled out very clearly in the certification process outline that's available on the CNVC website, easy to find. And then the third piece is that letter of intention. Okay, those three pieces. And I would suggest setting up a telephone appointment and reviewing those with me before going forward with it, so we don't have to redo anything. Yeah. So any questions about the process or comments or? Kamala, I see your hand up. I'd say go for it.
Okay, Roger, I'm just curious if, because I'm meeting with you in a week, if you want all these things filled out before we talk, or to go over them, or what do you mean when you say go over?
If you have clarity on what I just said and what I'm asking for, if you have clarity, then you can send them to me, and then we can review them on the call, and then when I get them, then I have to run them by Catherine Singer, and then when we have her blessing, then I would notify CNBC, and then they'll send you a notice saying you're a registered certification candidate.
But if I don't have them ready, should I not have the call with you?
It's up to you.
Okay.
If you have questions, if you want to meet and talk about it, it sounded like you still weren't clear whether you were still trying to make the decision as to whether to pursue a certification. So.
Yeah, and it's not about all of this. I mean, I'm clear about my intention,
Yeah.
and I'm not clear quite about my reason for certification. That's where I'm wavering, you know. So, yeah.
So I'm happy to have the call with you. And so it's up to you if it will meet needs for you. It certainly meet needs for me to contribute and to connect. And
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions for Roger about those three pieces as we lead up to November 1st? What that might look like for you? Any questions on that?
This is Catherine. Roger, I just want to say I'd love to connect with you about that. So I will be in touch about maybe when we could do that.
Great. It's really easy to book an appointment with me. You just go to my website, and from there you can access my online calendar, and you can see when I'm available and pick what time works for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That goes for anybody.
I wonder if we could share the link to your calendar, Roger. I can type it in here.
Okay, let's see. So I'm going to my website as we speak, and,
Okay.
and so let's see. The link is chooseconnection.squarespace.com / contact - Roger / Roger spelled with a D.
And is that contact dash like a hyphen?
Yes.
So Roger, is there anything after RODGER?
A /
/ And that's it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to send this so everyone can see it. And it should show up in your chat box. So if you want to go ahead and copy that, and then let's see if it works. Yep, it works. I just clicked on it.
Uh-huh. And you
So
can
you all
see
have
that
it.
you can just see that where it's green, those times are available.
Very cool. I do want to say about the letter of recommendation piece. I was very, very curious about the turnaround time because I was trying to send my information in quickly, and I sent it out to an NVC trainer who got back to me very quickly with a really beautiful recommendation. So I just want to encourage you, if there's any I don't know, anything that comes up for you about, wow, am I gonna get something back that's gonna be useful? I found that to be a really beautiful part of the process. Really enjoyed it. As the entire thing, the letter of intent, it really allowed me to kind of look in within myself and say, yeah, what is my intention in doing this? So I just wanted to share that experience, and I'm complete for now.
Thanks, Corey. To me, intention would be, what needs am I hoping to meet by a specific strategy or course of action? Also, I have given written recommendations for many people over the years as they became certified candidates. And in this case, I can't do it because I'm in the assessor role. But what helped me in most of those times is observations, because I have forgotten, you know, situations where I actually saw this person living in DC. You know, what typically I'll remember is I have a good feeling about this person, and in my gut, you know, like, yes, it's totally yes, but I don't have clarity on how did I come to that. And so oftentimes I have asked the potential candidate to say, tell me, can you give me the observation of when I witnessed you living in DC? And then maybe they remind me, well, I was, you know, I was at this workshop or that, or this group, or I facilitated this, or that sort of thing, yeah. And then it was easy for me to then, because as an assessor, I don't want just positive adjectives, you know, like this is a good person and I really like them, you know. No, what I'm wanting is, and other assessors want, and it is asked for, is observations. Yeah. Thank you. I'm complete.
And so Eric had something to share, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. He says, I recommend drafting the recommendation for your recommender, and then they can fill it or fix it. The turnaround for me was 1 day. So
yeah.
That was a strategy.
Good idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wanted to open this space up. Are there any, like, is there anything that comes up for anyone here about where they may not be clear about what's driving them or what needs are being met? And I just wanted to create an empathetic space for that. Not that, you know, this will lead into a long drawn out explanation of that, but I just wanted to sort of clear the air and say, hey, if there's a little bit of uncertainty or like, this is unknown terrain for me, I'm not really sure about it, that's okay too. We can hold space for that and hold each other in support of wherever you might be, if there's any uncertainty or anything coming up for you. Good. Everybody's clear. No, I'm joking. Kamala's like, oh, not quite.
Well, yeah, okay. So, Corey, you know what's bothering me is I've read the download, and I see this list of like 20 things to be proficient in, as if I could memorize documents. I mean, I've been practicing NVC since 2010. I'm not yet facile in any of those areas, but I practice regularly. So it seems kind of absurd to be graded on all these areas when it's a lifetime journey. And I find also, not with the trainers I've studied with, but I've taken a couple of classes with certified trainers that are so dry and intellectual that it turned me off to the trainer. I didn't have that experience with Roger or Jim and Jory or Faye Landy when I did the year-long course. But my concern is NVC is not academic, it's not intellectual, and yet this process of becoming a trainer seems to me highly intellectual, like we're going through a college course. And having taught yoga for 40 years, I know you can't do it in a year. Even though they crank out teachers and certified people, it really bothers me that you can just have a piece of paper and call yourself, you know, facile in something like this, which is so huge. So I guess that's it for me. I mean, I really do have reservations about that long list and how one can be conversant in that way in a short time, you know. So, and that goes for any training. I'm just having ethical issues, I guess. So,
Kamala, can I ask what is the long list you're referring to?
let me see.
Let me make a guess. Is it the Matrix?
Nope. I love the
No.
Matrix. I think
Okay.
it's one. Okay, so wait, go ahead with somebody, and then I'll.
Is it the key differentiations?
Could be. I forget what you called it. Hang on, I'm trying to bring it up.
An example.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I gotta find it. Where did I put it?
An example of a key differentiation would be being giraffe versus doing giraffe.
Yeah, there's a list of like 20, I think, or more.
Yeah, maybe
competencies. And to me, that seems absurd. Even, and I haven't seen many trainers even who live it to that extent. So I get, and it's not about NBC particularly. It's about any training program that gives you a piece of paper saying you can do it. You know.
And so,
my
would
question,
you like to? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, my question is, it seems so heady and intellectual, and NBC's not. It's real, and the value to me is in putting it into my life, which may not mean checking off all these boxes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I know you understand. So, yeah.
Gail, is there something you
I see
want
Gail
to
has her hand up.
say?
I want to thank Kamala. I really relate to what you're saying, Kamala. Along the way, since 2011, when I began my certification process, I had many questions that were similar to that. And I found that answering all of what you just explained or described, I found it tedious. And I thought, oh God, I just, there are other things that I need to be doing, and I have choices to make, and this isn't giving me, this isn't fun. And so one of the reasons why I came back into the certification process now is because of the SoCal NVC pod, so that I'm not alone in this process, so perhaps it can become enlivened for me by being together with other people who can help me with it.
I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah.
I so understand what you're talking about, every single aspect of it, from trainer to trainer. There have been so many differences between trainers, and some of them I thought, I'm glad I went to this training because now I know what I don't want to be. And so,
well, and just to your point of fun, I know I just read a quote by Marshall the other day, which I was going to share with my group. If it's not fun, don't do it. And when I looked at this lengthy thing and hoops, I thought, I love practicing NBC, but this just took all the fun out of it for me. So.
Yeah, and
that's really funny to think. This is Catherine. It's really funny to think that Marshall Rosenberg himself might have dropped out because it wasn't fun.
Well, exactly. But, you know, for him, it was authentic and real, which I think is true of anybody who starts something. For them, it's alive, it's exciting. And when it becomes...
No, of course. But I meant the certification process, the documentation and so forth.
Yeah, and checking off the boxes and doing all this stuff. It's just like, this isn't fun anymore. And I love NBC. I mean, I have a group on Zoom, and I had a live group when I had a home, and I have an empathy buddy, and I love you guys, even though I didn't make it to the retreat. But yeah, I'm just bogged down by the whole thing.
So for me, then, I'm wanting to find a way to make exploring the key differentiations fun.
Okay, you're in.
And so my idea is use a portion of one of our calls, and we take one key differentiation and we just go around the circle and tell me what your experience, not your intellectual understanding of it is.
Okay.
What is your experience of this particular KD? And and keep in mind, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, what's your experience of that part or aspect of NVC? I think that can be really rich and deep and afford us opportunities for lots of connection and fun, in my opinion.
Well, I would love that, Roger, because right now it just feels like studying for my PhD, which I don't want to do. You know, so.
Right. Gail.
Thank you.
Roger, I really like that idea. That's Catherine.
Yeah, I do too. I really like it. And I wonder if we could, in some way also incorporate sharing with each other from time to time, maybe not, or maybe somehow with partners or whatever, learning journal entries.
Yes, another great idea.
Yeah, so that I know that was one stumbling block when I began the process, is I thought, yes, I've got a great learning journal entry. And I sent it off and I got it back with a lot of, this you could work more on, this you could work more on. And I thought, goodness, I'm facilitating NVC already. That this is my heart's love. I don't seem to have this problem in daily life with my empathy and self-empathy. Maybe I do and I'm not aware of it, but it was so hard for me every time one of those LJEs went out. And so I would love to have that kind of feedback as well, that kind of exploration.
Gail, what is an LJE?
Learning journal entry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and Gail, I just want to say, for my practice groups, I've learned more from those people than anything really. Well, not anything. I loved my year-long course, the Compassionate Leadership course. It was fabulous, and I wish it was going again. But anyway, yeah, when I'm off track, we sit and we share using NVC what I might do better, which I find incredibly helpful, the honesty of it. Yeah, and I guess I just don't want, I'd love to have fun. Thank you. I feel better now, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not an academic.
I love the playful energy that I'm feeling right now, that this can be really meeting needs for growth and fun, all in the same.
Hey, Corey. This is Ariel. I just want to jump in. I'm excited to be having the conversation we're having and have like, you know, my own experience. And for me, I have not yet, like I will go to write a journal. And immediately just the process of being in a journal that I know is going to be like, I'm writing to document my knowledge of NVC and my clarity when I'm triggered to give to somebody who's going to read it and tell me whether like I'm thinking about it. Like I actually have way clearer NVC consciousness when I'm not doing that. And what I've noticed is that it means that I haven't actually for the last 5 or 6 years since I've, you know, or maybe more, because before I became a certification candidate, I was thinking about doing certification at some point and knew I had to journal. Like I've kind of never, as long as I've been considering certification, been able to write a certification journal and actually feel really self-connected and able to really articulate a process well. And I do, and like for me, I have a real, like I really do well with empathy buddies, and when I'm writing and when I'm in self-empathy, my own internal but I just, and I actually just, again, this is a celebration of this because I see things starting to shift, even just kind of knowing that there's the possibility of like, we could have a writing date or we could like write together. And like, I was celebrating that Lena shared, like her offering at the last gathering was like journaling, and I saw the handout that she shared, and it was like very kind of felt safe and playful and connecting, like a loving writing teacher kind of inviting people into a space to play together. And so I'm like, this week I had the first time that I went to write a journal and wasn't self-editing and wasn't like questioning how it was going to sound to someone. So I'm also excited about having like writing dates and maybe like having smaller groups, maybe like triads or quads or something that could like, meet, maybe have a call like bi-weekly and check in, like, how's it going? Where, yeah, I'm complete.
Ariel, I love what you said too.
Also, I didn't catch any of that in the notes. I stopped writing notes.
Got it.
I think this idea of being graded and judged is not part of NBC. So I'm resonating with what you said, Ariel. And when I went to be a certified life coach, I had to keep a journal for a year, and no one ever said it was wrong. It was an honest sharing of my process, but no one ever said, well, you didn't do it right, because it was my own personal process. So I think that points to what's bothering me about this whole thing. So I really love what you said, Ariel. Like, when you think somebody's going to grade you on your journal, hell, that's just weird,
So I'd like to chime in here because part of the process, the journey, will involve you submitting a year's worth of journaling to me. And would you like to know what I'm looking for?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not to grade you or as to right or wrong or good or bad or NBC or not NBC. What I would be looking for is self-connection and being able to use that process to identify your needs and connect with your needs, as well as the needs of others. And what I'd really like to see is you journal about a conflict you have with a significant other, and how did you work through that, and were you able to identify their needs as well as your own, and how did the two of you resolve that? And it's not the result, but just the connection, yeah. And maybe it's a situation where you just decide to let it go, okay, and it wasn't really worked through with that person, but you were able to reach a place of peace and acceptance within yourself. This is how it is. Does that help? I'm a big fan of journaling. I've been journaling for 15 years, and my journaling has taken different forms over the years, and I've really gotten aware of, at times, noticing that my Jackal editor is just up and running quickly. I like to journal first thing in the morning, just before my internal Jackal systems have all woke up. And but sometimes I notice that gosh, they're the first things that are awake. And but again, I'm just doing it for myself, and so and sometimes more and more in recent years, it's just been more of a journal of gratitude and appreciation. What's going well, what happened in the last day that is just that I'm celebrating. And so, but there's times when if there's something that I got triggered and I haven't worked through it, then journaling, it can really be helpful. It just really breaking it down into basics of, okay, what happened? What's the observation? And then sometimes I love to just let the jackals rip and rant because underneath them, then I can find feelings and needs. But sometimes if that energy is so strong, it gets in the way of then me able to access my heart. And so I just looking at it, for me, there's and being able to express it in a journal, then I'm able to access feelings and needs behind that. Okay? And then after I've reached mine, there's typically a shift, and now my heart is open to what is the good reasons, what's going on for the other person in this situation. Gail.
I'm not normally a journaler.
Uh-huh.
However, I kept a gratitude book for a couple of years, which I wrote in every evening, gratitude for what was going on during the day. But I've never been a journaler about my triggers. I think about them and I work through them as I'm driving or as I'm walking, but I've never really been a person who sits down and puts it on paper much. And I'm wondering how often you would like these entries, these learning journal entries, how often, how many over the course of a period of time. How would I know how to organize my life in that way?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and I'm gonna look back at what does the personal, all it says is personal journal entries.
I know.
Yeah, and so I would say a minimum of 3 situations that you've worked through, and it doesn't have to necessarily involve conflict, but in which you write out your self-empathy process. One in which I can see that you can easily make observations and identify your needs and the needs of another person, and then what request of yourself do you have after that? Is it to let it go, to have a conversation with them? Are you going to empathize with them? Do you want to be honest with them? Yeah, I would enjoy seeing like 3 of those over a period of a year.
Oh, well, you'll get a lot more than that.
Well, you can send me more. I'm not looking forward to reading them really.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
But
no, maybe you get more than that. I shouldn't say that, but yes. Okay, thank you.
If you want to send more, I will read them.
So Roger, are you saying that if we did 3 for a year, you would be content?
Yeah, and that it was a sample of, and because not everybody, a lot of people have a lot of resistance to journaling, okay? And I've discovered value in it, and as it has really helped me specifically now with staying focused on what's working, what's going well, what am I celebrating, what are the wins in present moment, and what needs are getting met. Because my experience is that like most of the time, the vast majority of the time, like 99% of my needs are getting met. Yeah. And so I like to celebrate that and encourage other people to do the same, because I'm such a big believer in the law of attraction, and where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you put your attention on, you would get more of. And so journaling is just a way of me training my mind in any situation. Okay, what's working? What's going well? And not that. And then there's times when I lose that, and I just the focus is different. But I find that helpful.
that really cleared a lot up for me. And I'm used to doing a coaching journal, which is a little bit different, more of an action plan kind of journal. So this is good. And I'm grateful that you said we didn't have to do one every day in our journal.
Oh, here.
Because I was thinking, oh my God.
I do. It's one of my morning rituals. And it's like a spiritual practice for me because I'm identifying needs, and to me, that's source energy. And so to me, MVC is a spiritual practice.
It is.
Roger, I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so does that mean it could be, let's say, a weekly journal?
Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? I'll go ahead and re-ask. So let's say
the sound is breaking up a little bit.
Okay. My question was, so what would be acceptable is maybe the idea of me doing a weekly NVC journal, sort of as a summary of the week in my mind, and sharing things that I'm celebrating and or mourning, and my feelings and needs. Would that be, just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And I'm also looking to see how you work through moments when you're triggered. Okay, and then how do you conflict transformation? You know, how do you work through that and resolve conflict with others, and especially with somebody where the stakes are high. You know, like your significant other, yeah, or a close friend or a family member, yeah.
Understood. That was very helpful. I'm glad we had this conversation specifically on the journal, because that was a concern for me. So thank you, all of you, Kamala and Gail. And I'm also noticing we were at 35 past the hour, and the intention was to have an hour here in time. So I'm just going to take a moment to scan if there are any other questions, or maybe you want to follow up with either Roger or someone, or just express what you'd like in the next few moments to go ahead, and then we'll begin our round of checkouts.
So I just wanted to add to what Roger, the conversation y'all were just having. I know that Kathleen, my assessor, is like, I have no interest in reading like a book of journals.
Amen.
I just wanted to like kind of emphasize that. It sounds like, Roger, you're actually not wanting quantity, but really wanting to invite people to start to, you know, like be able to practice it long enough to be able to maybe be able to say like, hey, I had 3 conflicts this year at least, or maybe more, and this is an example of me being able to like let my jackals howl and then identify observables and feelings and needs and think about what I want to do moving forward. And that you would be happy to have at least 3 examples of us working through conflict, but that you actually don't like that. Maybe a lot of the volume would be like us having our own process, and that we would share with you, like, here's what I can do when in a conflict. Is that
right? And it doesn't have to be conflict, but that would be to me what would give me the best insight into you living NVC, and in terms of you integrating NVC, is because you're sharing with me your private journal of how you work through a situation and how you use NVC to support yourself and working through that. So yeah, I'm in total agreement that, you know, I don't want a book, you know, and I'm thinking like 3 situations spread out over the span of about a year. Does that help? I'm complete.
Thank you, Roger. And so with that being said, just honoring time, I want to go ahead and begin a round of checkouts. And maybe if there's a lingering question or anything that you have, feel free to express it in that time. And also, I just wanted to remind you that our next call will be on October 3rd. And I understand that Lena will be leading it and Lori will be taking notes. But just keep in mind, October 3rd, the third Thursday in October will be our next meeting. And so I'll begin the checkout. I'm feeling relieved whenever I lead any of these calls. It's like, Kamala, you might be able to relate to this. It's like, I just want to do it well. You know, where's my agenda? Where's my outline? And then I didn't have an agenda or outline. I just called Roger before we got on the phone on the Zoom today. And I'm really happy. It went with ease. I'm glad how we seem to be asking questions that support us. And I really appreciate that last piece about the journal, because I had really been beating myself up about, you've got to have a daily journal. You've got to state your feelings and needs. And now I'm just like liberated to know that that is not how it has to look in order for it to be what is asked of. So I'm really happy like that. I'm really happy about that. And looking forward to the next call. Yeah. And I pass to, let me see here. Kara, would you like to check out?
Check in and out.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the call as well. I had a lot of questions answered, so my need for clarity was met. My need for connection and community and support by this group was met. And I also feel, I think my need for reassurance. And I'm also happy to know, I lost my internet for a minute, but I think I heard that like once, it's not a daily thing. I think I heard that once a week was, could somebody just give me clarity on that little piece that I missed? Was that what was said about these situations that we're tracking?
Are you talking about journaling now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the frequency is up to you. And some people do daily, some people do weekly or monthly. As the assessor, and it's going to be turned into me, I don't want a book. You know, I'm only asking to show me 3 situations that you've worked through that resulted in more connection with yourself, connection with others. Maybe you worked through a conflict. And the juiciest for me would be if you work through something with somebody who is important to you, and somebody where there's it's an important relationship in your life, maybe perhaps a partner or a spouse or a best friend or one of your children or a sibling or a family member, a parent, where you work through something.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, my need for clarity is met, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for facilitating, Corey, and thank you for supporting us, Roger.
Thank you, Kara. Much love to you in Chicago, and appreciation to Catherine for taking notes, and for Ariel too taking notes, and for Eric setting up the Zoom call. Eric, I don't know where you are. You might be in the midst of doing some school-related stuff with your kids, but if you'd like to check out right now, I'm just going to put the space out there for you to do so. Yeah, my sense is he's knee-deep in something at his children's school. So with that being said, Gail, would you like to check out?
Sure. I am very grateful, particularly to Kamala, because you began something that was so important to me. And I was wondering, how am I going to put this into words? And even I was feeling self-conscious about this learning journal business. And that I was telling myself that maybe I just wasn't good at it, or I failed, or something like that. And I feel so relieved and so connected to the group and so happy. And I'm grateful to you, Roger, for the clarity. And I want to only say that on October 3rd, I will very likely be in New York, because I'm going to have a new grandson. And yeah, and the due date is somewhere at the end of September, beginning of October. And whether I will be able to be on that call is a good question. I'm going to try to be, but it's 3 hours later there, and the sleep deprivation with the new baby and all of that, I might just check out for that one, but I'm going to try. So thank you.
And Ariel.
Sorry.
You're muted, Ariel.
I kept clicking on the mic instead of the unmute button. I am feeling great. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to myself for many moments in the past month when I've said yes to this group. I'm grateful to you all for showing up and being here. I feel kind of trusting, like I'm ready to like get through a process that has not been in a place of movement for a long time, and thank you, Roger, for calling us into being and persisting with the, you know, it doesn't have to be this way. And so I'm grateful to all of us for have co-created that new reality for us tonight. Good to be here.
Thank you, Ariel. Kamala, and thanks for Roger for all that you do, and for everything you shared today is very, very, very helpful. Kamala.
I agree, Corey. I'm so grateful that Roger's going to be my assessor. I think I'm starting to shift out of, I had a terror of this being like a domination paradigm, the certification. And
God, yeah.
I just really want support to make it fun, and I don't want to be dry about it. And I love the support of the community, and I feel a little more relaxed today, and I'm hoping that that happens more in the future. Mm. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
All right, Roger.
I want to thank all of you for saying yes to the call. I'm just really happy, really pleased, really grateful that we're going forward together. We're going to grow NVC in Southern California and beyond. And I've got some exciting ideas that I'll be sharing in the future that I think will make it even more interesting, more alive, and more fun. And the headline there is I'm wanting to start a Southern California NVC Facebook Live group. And you just like we're doing right now. It's just you're talking to your camera and you do a 2-minute piece and share how your life benefited from NVC today. And so it's streamed live, and then you get to see it, and then you choose whether it stays up there on that group or not. And then any of us at any time can go in there and see what's going on with each other, and as well as have an opportunity to step up and speak out and express our truth. And it's great for building self-confidence and self-acceptance to be able to hit that blue go live button and step into what for many people is the biggest fear in life, and that's public speaking. And tell us what's alive in you today. Yeah. So more on that coming soon. Okay. Thank you, Corey, for facilitating, and Ariel and Catherine for taking notes. I couldn't find my link to the notes, so if somebody would put a link to the notes in our chat, then I can find it.
Roger, we haven't set up like a notes or a Google page or anything.
Oh, we haven't? Oh, okay.
So we're just taking notes on our own, and I think the suggestion was to email it. So I guess I'll check in with Catherine and see if we like how we want to combine our notes, or if we want to email both or whatever. But we have docs, so we could either create a Google Doc or share that, like, our notes with a group via email or a.
Yeah. I love Google Docs because we can all be looking at it in real time and it's alive, when it's happening.
It wasn't set up for tonight. We could do that in the future.
Okay, great. Yeah, for the future, yeah.
Since I'm talking, can I ask? Does the what you were just suggesting? Does it have to be on Facebook? Is there another venue?
Not that I'm aware of. And so, yeah.
We started something in one of the. I'll think about it and we can chat. I'll put it in.
Yeah, I'm open to other possibilities, but I think I know Facebook well enough now that I could organize it there, but I'm open to other possibilities.
Ariel, this is Catherine. I will, let's maybe stay on Zoom call after people hang up and we can talk about how to do it. I actually wrote mine in a Google Doc that I just started for this.
You can share that with, okay, well, I'll stay on.
Okay. And then I have not checked out, so I would like to do that.
Please do.
Okay. So I echo other people's sense of relief and gratitude. I actually have started my journaling, and I'm glad that you don't want a book, Roger, because I was starting a book. So I'm glad to be able just to pick out 3 juicy ones. So that sounds good. That sounds like in good balance to me. And also, as I said, I really love you just immediately, Roger, taking on, okay, let's make these key differentiations fun. Like, and then to have it be, that idea of having it be experiential and so group process in terms of, let's just talk about how do you apply this? How does this look in my life? So thank you. Thank you for your, like, let's do it real, let's do it fun approach. And I too am grateful to be part of your pod and am looking forward to doing this together and to making it fun, and just super happy. And I think Rosenberg would be really proud of us for doing that.
Amen.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
And I'm just celebrating that Catherine is in Costa Rica and we're all where we are, and we're all connecting here through the bandwidth of technology. So I'm so grateful for that. I'm going to, in the chat, just put down and I mentioned this at the retreat. This is an online journal that I use. It works really well for those that are on the Mac, iPad, iPhone. It's really cool because you can use it on both, and it's smart enough to know if I wrote something here, by the time I get to my iPad, what I wrote on my phone is there. And so you can add music and videos. It's pretty cool. So I'm just putting that out there for what it's worth. And really quick, I think the Irvine retreat would be the next event in which we're all being invited to get together physically. The date is not coming to me right now, but I just wanted to bring that back to our awareness that we do have something coming up to look forward to. And with that being said, is there anything anyone else wants to say before we end the Zoom call? Because Eric is the facilitator, so once we all leave the meeting, we can't get back in.
Well, I think Catherine and I were going to stay on for a minute and maybe figure out the situation.
And then Ariel, do you still want to connect with me?
Yes, very much. Should I call you?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. Shoot, I'm sitting in the dark. I totally can't remember off my. Oh, you know what? It's November 2nd, the OC retreat.
That's right. So November 1st, there's this intention we're collectively holding about what it looks like to be a registered certification candidate on November 1st. And then November 2nd would be that event in Irvine. Cool.
Oh,
All right,
this
everyone.
is Catherine. I just wanted to say I forgot in my checkout to mention I won't be there for the October 3rd meeting. I will be, but for a nice reason, I will be sharing NBC with a group of women entrepreneurs through Women's Economic Ventures. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, everyone. It has been a pleasure. Have a fantastic evening, and we will see you next time. Next time on our first Thursday, if not sooner than that. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, you
Thanks,
too.
Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Love you guys.
Be well.
Bye for now.
Love you. Bye-bye. So, Ariel.
Catherine, because I was just writing the notes, tell me again that, like, the Women's Economic Ventures.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be giving a presentation that night to them on NBC. Yeah.
I just wanted to get the name right.
Yeah, Women's Economic Ventures. Weave. Yeah.
So do you want to just share the doc with me? Like, so you started a Google Doc. Do you want to just share it with me? I could give you my email.
I think that's a great. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then you can just like cut.
I'll cut my stuff and put it in there.
Yeah, yeah. So let me just. I'm just going to enter your email address. What's your email address?
ARIEL.
Oh, I've got you. ArielRye@gmail.
Yep.
Okay, good. And then I'm going to make sure, because sometimes it's so funky. Okay,
So,
it says
Rye, it has to be WRYE.
yeah, I think I have it. Let me share it and see if it gets to you. And then you can tell me if you can access it. Make sure. Sometimes I checked and it said that you can edit, but sometimes with, you know, I share stuff with people and I think I'm doing that and then they can't edit. They can only view. But
I think I have it. I'm just pulling it up. So I just like writing on the top. Hi there. Yep, I'm in.
yay. Okay, so so that's it. Was the check-ins, it was the agenda, the 3 things to complete for certification. It kind of goes on and on. I'm gonna put the.
I'm gonna need to get off. But tomorrow I will take. I have access to this, and so
Perfect.
I guess feel free to do whatever you want to do with your notes, and then I'll bring mine in like later tonight or tomorrow morning when I can get back on.
Yeah, that sounds good and then I will just spell check it in the meantime.
Awesome. Thank you so much for backing me up. I wasn't really available to fully step in, but it was sweet to be able to share it.
Yeah, we patched it together, Ariel. Okay, thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.